Hello and welcome to this segment of The Mindset of Writing. My name is Michael Ray King, and today's writing tip is location, location, location. It's important for writers to consider where you're going to write each day. I always try to pick out in advance where I'm going to write the next day. That way I have a plan and I can move forward with it. I know where I'm going to write and I can get in the mood to get there. One of the things that helps define the writing location for me is my own personality. So each writer will have their own personality of where is best for them to write. Like, for instance, is this you? Squirrel! Distraction. Here at my house, where I'm at right now, can be extremely distracting to me. I can look out the window right now and say, oh God, the grass needs mowed. That hedge has needed trim for 2 months. Immediately my writer mode is getting beaten down. Not the greatest mentality to be in, mindset to be in when you're wanting to write. How about this one? Kids, settle down, please. I have 6 children. Now I only have one left at home now, and she tends to be very quiet, so it's not the issue that it once was. For some reason, the noise of my children doing things that they may not be needing to do or shouldn't be doing, or you touched me, and that type of thing could be very distracting to me and would bump me out of my writing muse at the time. So that's not necessarily the greatest thing. Then there's a dish on my desk. The dishes. Just looking at that glass makes me think of the dishes that are in the sink right now that need to be washed. Or the laundry. I got to do the laundry. For me, writing at home can be just this morass of responsibilities and things that will jerk me out of writing mode. So, what is a good writing environment? Now, like I said, we each have our own quirks, we each have our own little idiosyncrasies. So, I'll give you 3 of my favorite places to write, and you'll need to think up yours and decide which ones are best for you. My very first book was written 75% of it in a restaurant called Rendezvous Restaurant in St. Augustine, Florida. I would go in there every day and I would sit down and I'd order a Reuben and a Coke. I had the same waitress just about every time. Her name was Missy. After 2 or 3 days of this, I'd walk in and she'd say Reuben and a Coke, and I go, "You got it." And she'd asked me what I was doing. I told her I was writing a book. So after the first 2 or 3 times going to that restaurant, she'd bring me my food and she would leave me alone. And she'd come over and refill my drink every now and then, but she wouldn't bother me. I gave her a nice tip every time I was there, and I gave her a copy of my book, an autographed copy of my book once it was done. So that was really a wonderful experience. I also love writing at the park. There's a place called Waterfront Park here in Palm Coast, which is right on the intercoastal. I love taking my laptop out there, sitting on a picnic table in the shade, and dolphins will be going by and boats will be going by. And you would think that would be distracting, just like the white noise of a restaurant would be distracting, but not to me. They're not my kids. They're not making noises I don't like. The dolphins are kind of beautiful, and if I'm sitting there just gazing off like writers like to do sometimes just to get our thoughts together, watching the dolphins go by is very pleasurable, and sometimes some action out there on the water might trigger something in my brain. Then the other place I like to go is Starbucks. Now, I don't drink coffee. I don't really like coffee. I drink smoothies, so I don't have to pay for the expensive coffees. The great thing about Starbucks is, especially this one next to my house, they have dozens and dozens and dozens of outlets, so you can plug your electronics into them and keep right on working. You don't have to worry about your battery life. You have the benefit of being there and get something to drink. You have a restroom, and I have the white noise. And I do like music in the background, and Starbucks is playing decent music. They were playing jazz the other day. It was just absolutely wonderful. So the location is very vital to you. You want to be a place where you can get in the mood, the mode, you can access your creativity, you can access your mood, your muse, and you can put the most into your writing that you can possibly get. And you can't do that when you're surrounded by a lot of distractions. Now, big myth buster here is you don't need your computer, you don't need your desk, you don't need to cloister yourself away. If that's what you choose to do, that's perfectly fine, but you don't have to do that. Pen and paper, they still work. They still work very well. And they give you the added bonus of when you're transcribing it from your paper onto the computer, you can then jack up your verbs and strengthen things up a little bit. I'm not an advocate of editing while you go, that slows you down. However, if you write on paper and you're going to transcribe it onto your word processor on the computer, there are definite benefits to that. The big thing about location is always look forward to where you're going. Pick a spot that's going to fit your mood. I thought the library was going to be a great place to write. And I found that today, libraries, you have, unfortunately, the one I go to here in Palm Coast, I have these little old ladies who their cell phone rings and go, "Hello, yeah, I'm at the library." It's really loud and they have televisions there. It's horrible. In my day, libraries were quiet. Shh. But it's not so much that way, at least not in my town. So I found the library was not a good place to go. You want to be able to write wherever you're going, and you want to feel free to do that. You also want to pick multiple locations because you may be in a mood or a financial situation. Like if I want to go to Rendezvous Restaurant and start another book, it's 35 minutes away in St. Augustine. I have to drive all there. There's gas, there's time, there's food at Rendezvous Restaurant, and then there's gas and time coming back. Then there's the park, which is only 15 minutes away, but I have to take my car and all that stuff. Then there's Starbucks. I could ride my bike there if I wanted to. It just depends on your mood, your situation, and you want wherever you go to translate into better writing. And I'm going to talk about writing is creativity, and creativity comes from chaos. I'll be doing a mindset of writing tip on that. But you need to be someplace where you can access your creativity and access it well. So my name is Michael Ray King. You can Google me, Google my whole name, Michael Ray King. I will be the first page of Google on that one. And you can go to my website, michaelrayking.com. I would love to hear from you. That also has a blog on it. I have lots of posts. Feel free. This video will appear on the post as well. And please share me with everyone that you know. If you really like what you hear here, come back and I'll have some more writing tips for you at a later date.